This week on Healthy Living, we unpack the root causes and impact of phobias and how some people in Malawi with fears like claustrophobia and aerophobia do not receive adequate mental health support. We also look at Nigeria's urgent need for blood donations and what is being done to address this problem. We'll have these stories and more in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello, I'm Linoch Mudu. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Healthy Living. Many feel uncomfortable with heights in small spaces or when encountering snakes. But then there are those who suffer from extreme fear when they find themselves in such uncomfortable surroundings or conditions. Experts call them phobias, a type of anxiety disorders. A phobia is a persistent and extreme fear of certain objects or situations that trigger intense distress and panic attacks. Common types of phobias include arachnophobia, fear of spiders, claustrophobia, fear of confined spaces, and aerophobia, fear of planes or flying. These fears are overpowering and sometimes can prevent individuals from participating in everyday activities or enjoying social interactions. The causes of phobias are unknown, but experts say, among other things, they can be related to bad experiences. We start in Malawi, where health resources for addressing phobias are limited, leaving many without support. Reporter Chimwemwe Padata has this story from the capital, Lilongwe.
For a long time, 19-year-old Alice Williams has been struggling with acrophobia, a condition that makes her extremely fearful of heights. She explains how it impacts her life and well-being.
I'm afraid of heights. Every time I'm climbing something, I'm just so afraid I'm gonna fall down, and it's always like I'm seeing things moving. So yeah, I'm really afraid of that. Like when I'm climbing stairs, a tree I've never tried because I already know I'm afraid of heights. So like when I'm climbing stairs, I'm just somewhere high and then I look down, I'm just so afraid of that.
For a 2-year-old, Doreen Gama does not want to disclose her real name. Also suffers from phobia. She started experiencing a fear of snakes at the age of 7.
I saw a lot of animals, but the snake was like still on my mind. I could dream about it, about snakes coming to me, chasing me. So I think I really don't like seeing snakes.
Experts say phobias can be diagnosed and often treated with a combination of medication and psychotherapy. Sadly, Doreen is not aware of any psychosocial services in her city.
I think you just think maybe it will go away on its own, but I have never seen anything like to get away from phobia or to help somebody with phobia. I think it's just the person getting rid of the phobia by himself or herself, not like somebody helping the person.
The Malawi Health Sector Strategy Plan lists several non-communicable diseases, NCDs, that need attention. However, health activists are concerned that phobia is not included.
That's why phobia needs a lot of advocacy and a lot of awareness to decision makers, policy makers, those who make decisions at the highest level. Because we have people at the highest level who are phobic to so many things, and also at lower level. But the question is, how do we make sure we manage this as a medical disorder?
Adla Chokoto is a psychosocial counselor who treats people suffering from all types of phobias. She says it is unfortunate that the condition is so common and yet overlooked.
With phobias, the best treatment would be through therapy, because what you want to do in therapy, specifically what we call cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a type of therapy where we basically break down that fear into our thoughts and the behavior, but also the emotion. So I think the best treatment for that might be working around therapy.
Researchers say while not all phobias need to be treated, therapies are available to help people control their fears. Chimwemwe Banata, VOA News, Lilongwe, Malawi.
Now, what is your biggest phobia and how does it affect your daily life? What did you do to overcome it? Here are some reactions from Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
Moi, personnellement, je suis claustrophobe.
Personally, I'm claustrophobic. I fear very confined spaces, and I admit that I could never imagine myself being in a well. I wouldn't know how to handle it, or sometimes even in prolonged corridors. I even have trouble going down narrow, long corridors.
I would say the phobia of a plane crash. I have air sickness. My heart rate always speeds up. That's how it manifests.
In the past, I experienced some phobia related to public speaking. It was something that stressed me out, especially being watched by others. I kept questioning myself about what I was going to say, and it frightened me. Over time, I managed to overcome this by going along with it.
Personally, I try to work on my fear by going through confined spaces. Sometimes, when I'm alone, I try to go through narrow spaces to see how I will react. I manage to do it, but it's very difficult. I only do it when the corridor I need to pass through is very short.
I managed to overcome the phobia in 2 ways. First off, by flying more often, which created a habit and helped with turbulence. The second way is by praying. I tell myself that if God allows us to go up, He can allow us to come down.
I used to have a phobia of earthworms. Now I relativize it a bit, so it's okay. I was able to overcome it over time by observing people who approach earthworms without fear. Through experience and observation, I managed to do it.
In school, we held positions of responsibility, so we were required to speak in public. These experiences didn't help in quickly overcoming this phobia.
In terms of socialization, certain things you're told or certain situations can create phobias. For example, fear of the dark. People are often told about the dangers of darkness in their social interactions. You will see that these individuals will develop a fear of the dark. However, some people have phobias of certain things on a personal level and cannot explain it.
Claustrophobia, for example, could be considered innate. Some people naturally can't tolerate staying in a closed place. These are innate phobias, but they can still be treated.
Dr. Kamama is a clinical psychiatrist and honorary lecturer at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. He discusses some of the root causes of phobias and steps to get over them.
So a phobia is an irrational, excessive, persistent fear of an object or a situation. And the object and the situation is one where it would not be normal to be fearful or anxious of that object or situation. With the phobia, the physical symptoms that can present would be ones of panic, or what we call an anxiety attack. And an anxiety attack happens like a wave. So it can start small and gradually get worse, and it peaks. So the most common kinds of phobias that we would get, specific phobias, where we might be afraid of animals, of enclosed spaces, of heights, for example. And we also get what we call social phobia or social anxiety. And one would also get what we call aerophobia, which is fear of having an anxiety attack in a place where one can't get out easily. So early childhood experiences are very important when it comes to phobias. The earlier or the younger the exposure, the more likely it is for one to have negative outcomes. So we know that if a child has a severe trauma, such as a dog bite or a snake bite, if they have it as a child and it's not well managed and it's not well held, that child can then develop abnormal anxiety later on in life. So phobias may look different depending on where the person is. So an example is that if you're not flying very often, one might not pick up the fear of flights. And if you're in a place where there's lots of snakes, the fear of snakes might be much more upfront and more prevalent. Phobias are anxiety disorders, and anxiety disorders happen in every context. So all around the world, we would anticipate anxiety disorders. And we know that 1 in 4 to 1 in 6 people will have an anxiety disorder, which is where phobias also fall into that group. Our first line treatments are what we call psychological treatments, such as cognitive behavior therapy with systematic desensitization. So our therapy is our first line. In some people who have more severe phobias, we might need to use medications, and more typically the antidepressant kind of medications. But first line is cognitive behavior therapy, what we call CBT, with systematic desensitization.
Nigeria has started a nationwide initiative for blood donations as the country faces a huge blood shortage. Authorities say Nigeria gets only a quarter of the annual blood donations it needs, leaving patients and hospitals in desperate need of blood in emergencies. Timothy Obiezu reports from Abuja.
Nigerian musician Excel Praiseworth has been living with sickle cell disease for 3 decades. In July, the blood disorder led to a painful health episode, and he had to get a blood transfusion.
There was no blood in the hospital. I think that their blood bank was empty. I don't even know if they had a blood bank in the first place. So we had to now start looking for blood.
Praiseworth waited more than 5 hours for a relative to donate blood and finally get him some relief. Nigeria's National Blood Service Agency said in 2023 that the country gets about 27% of the estimated 1.8 million units of blood it needs every year from voluntary blood donors. Nigerian health authorities blame the reluctance to donate blood on misinformation, cultural and religious biases, and underfunding of the National Blood Service Agency's operations, which include awareness campaigns. Nigeria's severe blood shortage often forces desperate patients to rely on so-called blood racketeers, illegal commercial donors who give blood for pay. This channel has few regulations ensuring the blood is safe for use. To help address the blood shortage, the Nigerian government announced an initiative in September to set up blood collection centers like this one across all 774 local government areas. The goal is to ensure there is enough blood for medical emergencies and transfusions. Ijoma Leonardi is the head of operations at the National Blood Service Agency.
There's this apathy about donating blood. People don't like donating blood. They feel that if they also fear that if they donate blood, that they might die because they don't have enough. We also go to institutions of higher learning where we have population of youths, and we go to churches. We have churches that are densely populated. We go to shopping malls, we go to markets.
Bali Kisu Muhammad is a first-time blood donor.
I think it's important because there is someone out there that needs it. So since I have enough, I think I can donate.
Praiseworth is using his music to educate others about sickle cell disease and encourage people to donate blood. In 2022, he launched a non-profit called The Sickle Sound.
And that's something I'm doing with the sickle sound, putting out the right information about the sickle cell disease. Once you understand how something works, then every superstition or myth you've had before, it's broken.
Leonardi says the National Blood Service Agency aims to eventually have 1 million safe blood units reserved across 6 zonal centers in the country, but she did not say when it is expected to reach that goal. Until then, many people like Praiseworth will struggle to get life-saving assistance. Timothy Obiezu, VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
That's our show for today. For more health news, wellness tips, and medical breakthroughs, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on X at Linoch Mudu. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.